question we've got here, Mr. Girish, is in regards to work requirements. What are the work requirements to lodge this 887 visa?
Because as we discussed before, that the main criteria are the residence, 2 years of residence, and second one is the 1 year work requirement. 489 visa is no longer exist because the government closed this visa in November 2019, and those who are granted after 2019 or before 2019 can be eligible to apply for 887 visa. So under that work requirement, you must work in regional area at least 52 weeks, which is equivalent to 1 year. So you must work in regional area, the listed regional area in your 489 visa grant copy, and listed postcode. You must work at least for 1 year, 12 months, 52 weeks, minimum 35 hours per week, which is like full-time equivalent work, right?
So can we say, for example, Mr. Girish, maybe I'm very new to regional area and it's very hard for me to get a job as soon as I've been there, but I've been working 2 part-time jobs, combined. Can I combine those 2 jobs to make those requirement for the employment?
Yes, because the immigration department specified that you must work 35 hours per week minimum. So in case if you have worked one place is for 20 hours and if you are working another places for at least 15 to 20 hours, so altogether if you have 35 to 38 hours work per week minimum, you can actually utilize that pay slips to onwards the 52 weeks pay slips in total.
Alright, Mr. Girish, do we have any kind of concession in employment when it comes to, due to COVID, people have lost their jobs, they might not be able to do that 1 year? Did department give us any kind of concession?
Yes, due to the COVID-19, we do have a concession in work as well, because if instead of 12 months, if you have lodged an application after 1st February 2020, if you have the 12 months of requirement reduced to the 9 months.
Okay. So
Until the further notifications.
All right. So if I've been there for 9 months working full time in this last 2 years, I should be eligible for.
Yeah, those who stock in Australia, outside of Australia, or those who are living in Australia, both get the concession for 9 months.
What documents, Mr. Patel, do I require from to satisfy my employment evidence?
So let's assume that if you are working under the tax file number, the tax file number means that you are working under the employer itself. So you're not working yourself, self-employment. Self-employment means that if you are working for your own ABN, Australian business number. So there are 2 types of work criteria, there are TFN and ABN. We talk about the TFN, tax file number. When we talk about the tax file number, you must need the pay slips with the hours must be listed into the pay slips as well. And bank statement, superannuation, tax return, reference letter with the works listed into the reference letter with limited duties. You can provide it because we're not claiming the points for the experience, so you can provide the limited duties of your work as well. If employer is not happy to provide that one, that's all right, but you need to provide the reference letter as well. Then when did you started the work, and that has to be aligned with your bank statement, pay slips and everything. Superannuation and the tax return, these are the important documents you need to provide as well. If you have the employment letter or contract letter in TFN, you can also provide those documents as well along with the applications.
Mr. Prey, it has come to our notice that we've heard from a lot of candidates that the employers have not paid their super, they might have complained in ADO. Do you think Immigration Department of Home Affairs might create an issue if the super has not been paid by the employer? Does the candidate will suffer, or he should just not care about it?
No, they should care about this one, because super in the tax, because if the employer not paid the super, then employer may not have paid your tax as well. That's very important to understand, because when you talk about the tax things, you must verify your TFN, your tax documents along with your accountant, along with the tax department, that this employer must pay the super and tax. If the employer not paid your super, then obviously the employer may not pay your tax as well. So if your tax and super not being paid to the ATO, then it will not be considerable as equivalent work, because the immigration will not consider is a genuine experience.
So basically, Mr. Patel, we want to educate our clients that super is your money and it's your responsibility to make check and make sure that your employer has paid the super. Talk to your accountant, or you can call the tax department, or you can go on the website and check your MyGov account.
Yes, that's very much important, because 887 visa is very easy to understand, but it's very complicated as well. So I would not recommend to a client to lodge by themselves. It's a lot of criteria which attach with the 887 along with the documents because it's a permanent residence visa. So when you apply for 489 visa, maybe it granted easily, but when you talk about the 887 visa, it's a permanent visa. Immigration verifying a lot of things into the 887 visa.
Okay. Mr. Patel, moving on to if the candidate has been working not on the tax, but he's a self-employed, maybe running his own, transport company or self-employed with someone else, what are the documents required from his side?
We must need the Austrian business number, and that must be registered in regional area for at least 2 years from the date you move to the regional area and from the date you granted the 489 visa. So your ABN must be registered in regional area for at least 2 years. A business activity statement, because when you work under the ABN, you need to provide the business activity statement along with the GST if you are registered with the GST. Because if you are earning more than I think $70,000, you need to provide the GST documents as well. Make sure a contract, because when you're working under the ABN, the contract documents is very much important because you are making a contract when you're working, you're providing a services to another company under your ABN. So ABN versus ABN, so you need to provide a contract that okay, this ABN will provide this kind of services to that particular another company. So you need to provide the contract as well. Invoices is very much important. The invoices must be aligned with your bank statement. You need to provide the bank statement along with your transactions, and then the invoices must be aligned with your transaction in bank statement. And when you provide the invoices to your employer, the company that you are raising the invoices, that your hours must be listed in invoices as well, because if your hours not listed in invoices, then it will not be a considerable at all. So invoices along with the hours is very much important. A very much important part is the timesheet, because when you're working in that ABN, then you need to provide the timesheet that how many hours you work, and that has to be aligned with your invoices as well. So timesheet has to be in and out, login or logout report as well. You need to provide it, because most of candidates who are working in regional area, most of them are working in a truck transport business or maybe are working in courier company as well. So if you are working those kind of business industries, so I would recommend you to provide the login or logout report as well. And bank statement with the transaction, as we discussed it, it's very much important, that has to be aligned with the invoices.
Alright, Mr. Patel, again guys, if you are not sure about your super or you are not aware about your tax being paid, you should contact ATO website. Moving forward, Mr. Patel, let us know more about